Hello and welcome to Winter Disco Tabletop Gaming. And as I've started recording, it has started to pour down. And thunder and lightning, very strange for winter. We have a little midwinter storm going on at the moment as we record this, which is kind of cool because it sort of suits the setting. We're looking at the final two warbands for Warhammer Underworlds Beastgrave. This season is coming very soon to an end. So we have the final two warbands. So the two warbands are Morgok's Krushas, which are some orcs. Some very chunky, muscular orcs, and Morgwaeth's Blade-coven. So Morgok's Krushas are 3-model warband of Ironjawz. So far we've had one group of orcs. I think there was 3 or 4 in that warband from like the first season. And they were my boys that I used to play with all the time. I haven't actually played in a long time, but I was definitely using the original orc warband. And I've got to say, the models they've taken a step forward, but also a step back, which sounds a little strange. So if we look at the original Warhammer Underworlds season, I guess, the models were very new. I'm sort of just looking over behind me, particularly the skeletons. My god, those skeletons models were really good. So there was the whole team of designers were doing an amazing job. They were smashing out of the park. And people were buying it just for the models, for like painting projects, because the models themselves were really good. They seem to have gone away from that. I think they may have moved some of the team off. So you started to get these very typical models, and we actually see this in these two warbands as well. They're all just very standardized. Not standardized, just standard. Just, yeah, they're models that you could get in any box set. So with the Ironjawz, they're very similar to models that you can get in the box set. The difference is the little touches and the details. So you can look at the armor. It's very cut up and dinted. I don't know if that's a paint job. That's not the normal paint job they go for, showing like all the cracks and the dents and the chips and everything. I'm hoping it's actually part of the model. I think that would be really cool. But the poses, the armor itself, like the design of the armor, it's no different to what you would get in an Ironjawz box, to be honest. So it's kind of disappointing. But with these warbands, you do get monopose, and if you've seen some other videos that I've put out about monopose and talking about monopose models versus multi-part kits, I prefer not monopose. I prefer, oh my god, my head is going crazy and there's thunder and lightning everywhere. It's kind of crazy at the moment outside. I prefer monopose opposed to multi-part for different reasons. Mostly you can get very dynamic designs, so you can do some really cool, interesting things that you can't do in multi-part kits. But again, the downside of that is if you buy this warband, the 3 models are going to be the same. Everybody's models are going to be the same, which is for Warhammer Underworlds. That's fine. It makes sense. You are choosing Morgok's Krushas. That's what you're choosing. That's what you're choosing to play with. So, that's how it goes. So overall, yeah, the design's nice, but there's nothing really special going on. So let's talk about the models, the rules themselves. I generally don't go into too many rules on this channel. I'm more focused on the models themselves because I'm not much of a player, but you might find it interesting. So Morgok. So if you haven't played Warhammer Underworlds, they have 2 sides. You have a normal side and an inspired side after you do certain things. So in this case, if with Morgok there are 2 or more war counters on this card, you flip it over. So this seems to be something different than the other orc warband where you get war tokens or war counters. So for Morgok, after this fighter's activation in which they made 1 or more attack, place a war counter on the card. When you get 2 or more, you inspire. But as an action, you can remove a war counter and push each friendly fighter up to 2 hexes. So you could really start stacking that and getting a lot of movement going on. So the movement is actually 3, shield of 1, and health of 5, which is pretty good. Do a fair bit of damage too. And then on the inspired side, you get boss choppers. So you can reroll 1 attack dice for each attack roll in this attack action, which is kind of cool. And again, the same thing, but they can actually move faster. So yeah, I mean, I think the inspired thing is really, really cool. I really like it. Also, like on the cards, how now they actually have the non-painted version. For some reason, I like that more. Because a lot of people aren't painting the models. They'll get the models. And I always found, particularly for the original warband, particularly the Chaos warbands, I didn't know which one was which. So having them as they actually appear in the box, and after you put them together, you can match them up fairly easily instead of trying to figure it out. Then we have Ardskull. So he is basically the same stat line, same weapon, but using the swords there. So again, they get the same thing with the war counters when you do an attack, and then you actually have something called Gore Basher. So you remove any number of war tokens from this card before making an attack. The attack action has +1 damage for each counter you remove. So you're probably thinking you're going to stack that up pretty high. And I imagine you would have cards in your deck exclusive to this warband that you get extra war tokens, or you can not lose war tokens, or get a free war token, spend it for free. So just looking through, this is kind of strange. Why would you... Yeah, a bit weird by that. So you have Gore Basher, and then a Frenzied Whirl. Yeah, that's just... I think there's some strange wording here. Why would you ever use Frenzied Whirl? Because it looks like you don't even... Yeah, that's really strange. Unless there is some special cards that synergize with Frenzied Whirl, why wouldn't you just use Gore Basher all the time? Because it doesn't say you have to spend war tokens. So why wouldn't you use Gore Basher? You got more dice to hit with, and you do more damage. So that's a little strange. But I think there's going to be some few things in there, because it doesn't really say anything about Frenzied Whirl. In the description on the Warhammer page, it says, being able to power up his damage output in his war counters is incredibly useful, especially if he finds himself surrounded. But then that's specifically about Gore Basher. So I think there might have to be some clarification over why Frenzied Whirl is there. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me. That's all right. And the last model we have there is Thug, because that's the orc name. Fine, right, okay. So again, same standard card there. It's a 3/1/5, and his smashes are a 1/3/2, which is alright. Then, with the smashes, remove any number of war tokens from this card before making an attack roll. That attack action has +1 dice for each counter you remove. So Ardskull has +1 damage for each counter. Thug Inspired has +1 dice for each counter you remove, which is kind of cool. I think doing that is fine. Gives you more opportunity. It basically increases your percentage chance of hitting. So there we go. So overall, the playstyle they've said is a purely aggro style. So basically, you want to get stuck in and fight, and they've got 5 wounds, so they can last a fair time. You want to do a lot of damage to get those war counters up, to do some extra bits and pieces, and then there would be a lot of synergy going on with a whole bunch of cards, as is the game. And then you can use Morgok's, his ability, which is an action, remove 1 war token from this card and push each friendly fighter up to 2 hexes. So you can essentially, if they're inspired, you can get someone a 6 move just by moving. And then there's a whole bunch of other cards to get them moving around, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I do love the thematic nature of the warbands. It'd be interesting to see the other cards that are exclusive to the warband and see how they go. So the second warband we have is Morgwaeth's Blade-coven, which is a Daughters of Khaine warband. And again, the models themselves are pretty much what you would be able to get in most other Daughters of Khaine boxes. There really isn't anything overly special, which is somewhat disappointing. I mean, they're really cool models. They're very dynamic models, particularly the one with the whip. But at the same time, you can just proxy them fairly easily. But each to their own. I really do enjoy the small warband size. You can pick up a box and just a painting project. And I have pretty much everything from the first 2 seasons and nothing from the 3rd season, because I just stopped buying it. But they're definitely good just to pick up to do a bit of a painting project. So let's look at the warband themselves. So Morgwaeth the Bloodied. So they have so she has a glaive, and they get 2/2/2, which is pretty good. 2 range is always good. Anything ranged, I think, is fairly good in this game, because you can hang back, depending on the warband, of course. And with movement of 4, defense of 2, and health 4, so it's pretty strong. And they have a special rule called Blood Sacrament. So whenever an enemy fighter is taken out of action, choose and inspire 1 friendly fighter. Do this after any reaction to the action or gambit that took the enemy fighter out of the action, and after any reactions that the enemy fighter being taken out of action. Bit wordy there, but basically kill someone, you can inspire someone else. So that's very powerful against like obviously high number model warbands like Skaven warband, Skeleton warband. What else have we got there? The original Chaos warband, goblins, things like that. So really good against high model, low health warbands. And she also she inspires in the third round. So she gets a bit faster and can do a little bit more damage. So nothing too much. This would be one that you would probably keep back and really take advantage of that blood sacrament for the other models. So we have Kyrie, who is ranged snake lady. So they have a Heartseeker bow, which is a range of 4, 3 and 1 damage, and then a knife as well when you're up close. Again, movement of 5, defense 2, and health 3. And it inspires in the third round. So essentially, it looks like everyone's going to inspire in the third round. Unless you get off Morgwaeth's blood sacrament early, which you should be able to. I don't see why you shouldn't. You've got enough models in this warband to be able to do a fair bit of damage. So nothing amazing, just a bit of ranged, and that's pretty much it. Next we have Camus, depends how you want to pronounce it. So short range again, so 2 range, 3 dice, 2 damage, and then 1, 1, 1. So this fighter cannot be driven back, and they have a reaction. After this fighter's attack action with combo, make this attack action. So you can do some stuff, do some combos, and just get an extra bit of damage in, maybe. And again, inspires on the third round. And the bladed buckler gets a bit stronger and she gets a bit faster. So that's pretty much it. Then we have Krushas and Lethier. So they're just a couple of daggers. So yeah, 1/3/1 for weapons. So they have sacrificial knives. So on a critical hit, this attack action does +1 damage, which is always pretty cool. And it is for Lethier, or however you're going to pronounce it, slightly different. They inspire. When they're inspired, they get, if the attack roll includes 2 or more successes, and this attack action succeeds, resolve the deal damage step twice. So that's pretty cool. So you could do some really cool things with that. So the idea is that they're designed to be played best when both used to slay the enemy and capture objectives. Because they've got 5 models, they have the ability to move around the board fairly well. And you want to keep, basically, like I suggested, keep Morgwaeth safe in order to inspire key fighters, which is pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mean, you get some ranged attacks. You do get the option to really adapt yourself, where Morgok's Krushas are very much get in there and fight straight away and have the ability to move up quick. Morgwaeth's Blade-coven gives you some extra options and it's probably a bit more interesting to play. When particularly with the orcs, both orc warbands are just get in there and smash heads. And that's where they excel. This one you're going to have a bit more variation. Again, we won't know until we see all the other cards that come out. But until then, yeah, looks cool. So the 2 warbands, like I said at the beginning, the models, neither here or there for me. I do like how the orcs' armor is dinted and beat up. I don't know if that's just a bit of paint job. I'm just sort of looking at one a bit closer. It's really hard to tell. But interesting to see. I did collect the first 2 seasons of Beastgrave because I was playing, not Beastgrave, of Warhammer Underworlds, because I was playing the game. And then I just sort of stopped playing because it just got a bit too difficult to get to places to play competitively. But it's fun. It's a fun game. I do know that they do have Warhammer Underworlds online, and I'm interested in playing a bit of that. Get back into it. I might put that on the channel, or another channel that I have that I haven't mentioned before. A channel where I just play video games. I haven't actually uploaded anything yet there, but that's neither here nor there. That's something completely unrelated to this. So tell me what you think is your favorite, Morgok's Krushas or Morgwaeth's Blade-covens. I'm more leaning towards model-wise Morgok's Krushas. I love the orc design for the Ironjawz, like that beaten metal that's cut weirdly and just shaped in strange ways. But game-wise and play-wise, Morgwaeth's Blade-coven, probably a bit more interesting to play with. But again, if you just want to go in and beat stuff up, you can just always go orcs. You're never going to go wrong with that. So yeah, thank you for watching. We do know that there will be a new season of Beastgrave coming out. I did a video not that long ago where they outlined that a new season is coming, probably in November, December. So we'll do a bit of coverage of that as more things come out for it. So I'm keen to... It's a new season. I do like that release schedule. I like how every year and a half, they have a new season. It's like basically sort of, it's not a hard reset, it's a soft reset. You can still play the other warbands, but it's like, hey, this is a whole season. You can start from fresh, which is nice. So thank you for watching. Definitely subscribe if you want to see some more content like this, where I ramble on about stuff while it's thundery and rainy outside. But until next time, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.